Aloha everyone, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Executor Bubbles, bringing you another episode of Wonderful Wednesdays. Now, if you've liked what I've been putting out, I'd really love it if you could consider giving me a like, leaving me a nice comment down below, and sharing this video would really help so much. If you're new to the channel, if you haven't already, please also give me a nice subscribe. That would be really cool. But this past weekend in America, we celebrated our Independence Day. And I think now more than ever, we should take the time to remember what it means to really be an American. At the end of the video, we'll wrap it up with a special 4th of July message from the Terminator himself. But to help us remember some American history, let's bring back our favorite immigrant, Bert the Monster. Hey Norbert, welcome back. Do you remember, your immigration exam, what the Declaration of Independence was for?
No, you Americans don't know that.
Seriously? Didn't you just get your citizenship?
Yeah, but who remembers that sort of thing? Do you?
Of course I do. It was back at the Congress of July 4th, 1776, when America declared its independence from England.
That's so BS. You did not remember that. Did you look it up?
Alright, okay, you got me. So, I do remember a good part of it because I especially liked Adam Smith, who was one of the 5 authors of the Declaration of Independence, and he also wrote the Theory of Moral Sentiments, which I really enjoyed.
Alright, I guess I'll give you a pass for that. Not bad, not bad.
The Declaration of Independence was beautifully written. I mean, come on. All men are created equal. I can't even imagine how ahead of his time he was to have written that in 1776.
Yeah, a long time ago.
It's pretty awesome. And in my opinion, it established a philosophical basis for a civil democracy in which all persons are guaranteed rights simply by the virtue of oneself. But I'm not going to read it out in its entirety because it's going to take me some time, and I don't got enough subscribers to lose. But Norbert, if you want to check it out, or if any of you guys out there want to check it out, I'm going to leave a link to the full text in the description down below. But all right, let's get going, and we begin this week's journey to find our everyday heroes from some amazing people across the world.
Cool.
American heroes.
Our first story today takes us out to a family's front yard out in Massachusetts, where an incredible family took it upon themselves to do something special, honoring the deceased from COVID-19. The Lab family in Grafton, Massachusetts, has planted one miniature American flag for everyone whose life that was taken by COVID-19 in their state. Let's take a quick look at a clip from an interview they did with Fox News.
The kids take the time and set all the flags in them.
Hours of manpower and thousands of dollars.
It's pretty expensive, yeah.
Still, the Labby family has to put up more each day. They fear their already congested yard will get completely full.
We're hoping it doesn't go too much more, but we might have to.
The family is placing one miniature U.S. flag for each of the 8,013 Massachusetts residents who have died from COVID-19.
A brother-in-law.
A 15-minute drive to Keith Hill Road for this family.
I think it's nice for them to go to all the trouble of doing that, to honor everyone.
But an hour for others.
People have died in the hospital without families around, so we just wanted to give back to them.
And for all those people coming to visit, the family has put up signs asking people to maintain their social distancing, also thanking all of the men and women on the front lines, calling them the true heroes.
Sometimes it's a veteran that'll be like, thank you guys so much for doing this.
The Labbies are actually used to the attention.
We're known as the Christmas house. We always put up Christmas decorations around Christmas time, and everyone always stops by.
Their other fear is this Christmas they'll need both displays.
I truly believed that this would unite us, not just as neighbors, not just as family, but as a country and as a world. We would get united. And look where we are today. We're just the opposite. We don't have to see eye to eye, but we should respect and honor each other. Human life. At the end of the day, look at these flags. These poor people don't have that right to preach that.
Despite taking their own COVID-19 financial hits, this family says they are not accepting donations. In Grafton, Wale Aliu, Boston 25 News.
Oh man, sadly, that was a lot of flags.
Yeah. I can't believe they had so many. It's so sad that each one represented death.
Yeah. It's so sad to see that there were so many deaths already in Massachusetts and across the world. You know, in Hawaii, it's not so bad yet, but we should still do our best to be responsible for ourselves and also for the greater public health.
Yeah, it's because people like that reporter that wasn't wearing masks. Gonna cause second wave of this virus.
I don't know, Bert. You know, I don't even think we're done with the first wave. If you guys recall back in March, people were talking about the R naught. If the R naught is below 1, it indicates that the virus is not spreading and that it's contained. If the R naught is above 1, that means that cases will be rapidly spreading. If you don't remember exactly, you know, I don't remember exactly. I think the doubling time was about 3 days for SARS-CoV-2.
Oh, what if people don't follow directions? Huh?
Well, sadly, we can't do anything
What?
besides, you know, how just best protecting ourselves. You know, wear a mask when you're out. You know, have world-class hygiene and, you know, have good COVID protocols.
man.
Take your vitamins and just be smart about it. You know, in America, it's kind of like the Wild West out here, you know, in the U.S. with respect for COVID-19.
That's crazy!
Yeah, you know, doesn't matter, and I don't really care what you hear on the news. Just do your best to personally protect
man.
yourself and your family. You know, if they shut down the economy again, it's going to be even harder times ahead. And personally, I'm going to be salty as heck if, you know, we just quarantine for 3 months for nothing.
No!
All right, moving on to our next story. We take a look at a veteran volunteer group, Team Rubicon, and their amazing effort charging head into the battle against COVID-19. Team Rubicon is a disaster response volunteer organization of veterans here in America. They've supported many states and even other countries in their extraordinary relief efforts. For their COVID-19 response, they organized and launched an initiative called Neighbors Helping Neighbors and encouraged individuals to do their part in helping people in their communities, supporting other organizations to help provide food relief for those that are most needy. And even, you know, they've leveraged their medical volunteers to assist along other frontline workers for testing and medical support. But let's take a look at a clip from CNN Heroes, and, you know, we'll hear from their founder, Jake Wood himself.
The coronavirus is pushing healthcare workers and first responders to their limits.
But they're good.
But volunteers are also stepping up to help those in need. One of those is 2012 CNN hero Jake Wood, a former Marine who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. For the last 10 years, Jake's nonprofit, Team Rubicon, has deployed veterans in response to more than 500 natural and humanitarian disasters. It started with the 2010 earthquake in Haiti,
Let's get our gauzes, let's get our Chlorhex.
when Jake led dozens of veterans
I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna number the beds.
on a mission to help.
You match up the name to the mills.
Now Jake's group is mobilizing its 100,000 volunteers to respond to the COVID-19 crisis across the country.
Is there anything else we can do for you?
That's it.
Team Rubicon has launched a nationwide Neighbors Helping Neighbors campaign. Our volunteers are going in to supply much needed volunteer assistance in operations, logistics, and the execution of food delivery for vulnerable populations.
How you doing, okay?
Assisting organizations like Feeding America and Meals on Wheels.
This food will all be used and maybe redispersed to different soup kitchens, nursing homes. I'm very fortunate to be able to be a part of all this.
We're also helping to establish testing and screening sites in collaboration with major healthcare systems.
RNs on both, 4 EMTs on both.
Soon we'll be operating a 250-bed federal medical station in Santa Clara, California.
We can't do this mission if we put ourselves at risk.
Safety has to be the #1 priority. It's really important that we follow established guidelines and protocols so that we're not contributing to the problem.
I got some meals for you, right?
Yes, sir.
It's all work that Jake believes veterans are uniquely suited for.
These are men and women who have volunteered to serve in harm's way before. They may have taken the uniform off, but they still have service in their hearts. They still have those incredible skills.
Couple bags.
And in times like this, we should be turning to the veterans in our communities.
But Jake wants to help all Americans make a difference in their communities, regardless of whether or not they've served in the military.
But they're good.
We are hoping that Neighbors Helping Neighbors can become a nationwide call to action for all members of our society. If If you're at home and you want to pitch in, go to teamrubiconusa.org/neighbors and find out all the ways that you might be able to get involved with our organization.
I'm here because we're all in this together.
We're trying to meet the need where we can.
To be able to help a little bit fills my heart.
Stay together.
Here's the newspaper.
This is about your community. This is a moment for all Americans to rise to the occasion by thinking about the greater good. We will get through this together because that's what Americans do best.
Oh man, every time I see such a well-organized initiative like that, I get even more grateful to the organizers. You know, I know how much of an effort it is to do that kind of stuff. If anybody is interested in learning more about Team Rubicon or their efforts, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, I'll leave a link in the description down below so you guys can check it out. They have a really great program.
That's amazing. Even after such dedicated active service, they're back at home serving communities with Team Rubicon.
Yeah, Norbert, you know, that's real American patriotism. You know, like how Jake said it, this is a moment for all Americans to rise to the occasion by thinking of the greater good.
Yeah. I haven't been here too long, so I haven't seen it these days. But, you know.
Yeah, you know, these days they've been especially tough for a lot of families and people. But Jake said it best, you know, and I'll quote him word for word. We'll get through this together because that's what Americans do best.
Wow. I'm proud to be an American citizen because I know I'm free. I won't forget the man that died.
Wow,
Woo!
man.
Woo!
How old is that song, bro? That's way before my time.
Wow.
But anyway, you know, our last story today is a really heartfelt one. It's about a story of a man who celebrated his first Independence Day this weekend here as an American citizen. Janice Shinwari chose to become a translator for the U.S. in Afghanistan because he felt, you know, the Taliban were terrible people and nobody wanted those terrible people in their country. You know, let's watch another great clip from CNN about his story.
When the Taliban attacked Afghanistan, I saw a lot of bad things that they did to the people. Everybody were against them, and we didn't want them to be in our country. I decided to become a translator. I didn't know that the translator is always will be at the first line to the war. I served as a translator for 9 years. I met Matt 10 days before I saved his life. I saw Matt, like he was in a ditch and he was out of ammo, and the Taliban saw him and like everybody were shooting at him. I was crawling in the bushes. When I got like really close to Matt, I started shooting at them and I jumped. I shoulder checked Matt and he was like, "Who the hell are you?" I was like, "I'm Janice, I'm one of the translators, you're not safe, let's go back." When he saw the body of the Taliban, and he was like, "Thanks for saving his life." And then since that time, we become even closer than brothers. If you decide to work with US troops, you're not only putting yourself in danger, you are putting your entire family in danger. If the Taliban catch you, they will torture you in front of your kids and families. I was scared. I didn't want anything to happen to my family because of my service. And Matt, he said, "I promise you, I will get you here. I will come myself to Afghanistan and bring you here." I thought for me, it will take a couple months, but it took years.
You got it, bro?
Oh, good.
Alrighty. Dinner's ready.
If I didn't come here, I wouldn't be alive now. I would be dead.
The night that you arrived in America, do you remember me being there?
Yeah, I remember.
But I have still a lot of translators back in Afghanistan that they are living in danger for years. And the only hope that they have is to come to the United States.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
I promise that I will never forget about them. It doesn't matter how long does it take, we will not stop fighting until I get the last translator which is left behind.
Oh wow, that was such an amazing story. Janice is such an awesome example of American patriotism. You know, it didn't matter how dire the situation was and the circumstances he was in when he saved Matt. He just didn't leave him behind.
Wow, it's crazy how he risked his life and brought his family to America.
Isn't it?
Wow.
You know, I think he's such a wonderful father to his family as well. You know, isn't there nothing that you wouldn't do to protect your family?
Yep.
But yeah, you know, I feel like right now there are so many Americans that, you know, I don't want to really say it like this, but they take for granted our freedoms and rights these days. Even though things may not seem like they're the best now, you know? Like, considering that there's evil people out there in other countries who could just shoot you dead in the middle of the street in broad daylight.
That's crazy.
You know, I think we could be a little bit more grateful. But, you know, that being said, we can always and we should always be doing better to improve ourselves and this country. And that's America.
Oh man, I had no idea, Bubbles. You know, when I was growing up, my mom beat the bananas out of me because I did dumb things. But, you know, it's not like getting timeout kids like these.
Yeah. Me too, Norbert. You know, to be fair, there are a lot of adults out there that are doing some pretty wild things too.
Thank you.
But anyway, let's save that discussion for another video and another time.
Okay.
Cool? Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you again for sticking with us all the way to the end of this video. You know, this channel and all that we do recognizes you out there, the good people in this world. If you want to see any different type of content, or, you know, want me to review one of your community projects, or want to share some wonderful stories, you know, you can leave them in the comment section down below. You can also share them with me directly at stories@ebubbleshi.com. As always, you know, please hit the notification bell down below if you want to be notified when a new video comes out. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you all next week for another episode of Wonderful Wednesdays. And remember, if you're ever angry or upset, there's no angry way to say bubbles. Aloha.
My fellow Americans, the day is July 4th, the nation's birthday. How are you going to celebrate? As some might say that it's no time to rejoice. We have Americans who cannot breathe except on ventilators, who cannot breathe because of a knee in their neck, because of oppression and racism, and millions of others are holding their breath because they've lost their job and worry about how to pay for the rent and feed their family. So it is true that we face hard, difficult things, that we have wounds and anguish that desperately need healing. And yet, let me tell you why this immigrant has hope. Let me tell you why, as I speak, thousands and thousands of people are huddled on the border and all over the world yearning to breathe the free air of America. They risk their lives to get here because they understand the promise of this country. The world still believes in our promise. Shouldn't we? Wherever I go around the world, people come up to me and say, Arnold, how can I get to America? Can you help me please get there? It sometimes breaks my heart, but it always makes me proud. Just the other day I was riding my bike down by Venice Beach Boardwalk, such a circus of people there, I just love it. The French guy in his 30s took my picture and said, "You're the luckiest guy in the world." I said to myself, maybe it's because I'm in the movies, but I said, why? Waving his hands around, he said, "All this, what a great country. You're so lucky to live here." Well, we are a great country because we have great people, and we are lucky to live here. In a burst of genius and hope, our founding fathers overturned a world ruled by monarchs, titles, and inherited rank. This very day in 1776, they declared that certain truth was self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed with certain rights like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The founding fathers were not perfect. Slavery and racism are incompatible with freedom, but their vision for this country, one of equal rights and democracy, remains perfect. Our fellow Americans in the streets are rightfully hurt, angry and tired, but these rights are not yet real for everyone. They are holding us to fulfill what our founding fathers promised. Let us respond to them with meaningful change, and in Lincoln's words, bind up the nation's wounds. So, on this July 4th, we celebrate not only what has been achieved, but we celebrate the day that's coming when America's promise will be real for every American. We are so close. My fellow immigrants, and there are 46 million of us, will tell you that this country still offers more opportunity than any other place on earth. This is certainly true for this immigrant by the name of Arnold Schwarzenegger. When I came to this country, I had no money, I had absolutely nothing. 6 or 7 of the people from the gym came over to my tiny little apartment and brought me bed sheets, silverware, blades, wall hangings and a black and white TV. I couldn't believe the generosity. One of the guys said that it was a special day called Thanksgiving and invited me to his parents' house for turkey dinner, where they welcomed me, a total stranger, into their home. So it revealed to me the tremendous big heart of America. Even in these tough times, America, you still have that heart. As long as I live, I will never forget the day when I raised my hand and took the oath of citizenship that I would bear true faith and allegiance to the United States of America. Do you know how proud I was? I was so proud that I walked around with the American flag around my shoulders all day long. Today, on this July 4th, and every day that I live, I am still proud to call myself an American and a citizen of this great country. America, thank you for the life that you've given me. Thank you for all the men and women in uniform who for 200 years have protected the freedoms we enjoy. Thank you for letting me live the American dream. We must fight every day to make sure that dream is as true for a black child born in Minneapolis as it was for a white bodybuilder born in Austria. So happy birthday, America. I love you. You're still the greatest country in the world.